Hello, my name is Taj Brek, and today I would like to present to you my practice TPPP. Through my wondrous odyssey of the 11th year on my school journey, I have experienced the endless, expansive world of theatre, and I have learned so much from it, enjoyed it to the maximum limit. And I really hope I can keep doing that until life parts me. The 11th year taught me a lot of things that I have taken into account, that I will take into account, and that I really hope to teach to others. I think the most influential event that happened to me during 11th grade was the fall production of AES Moscow. The production of Honk the musical about the ugly little duckling, where I played the cat, the main antagonist. My job was primarily to hunt down Little Ugly and eat him for lunch. Playing that role, I learned a good deal of playing a main role, and I also learned a good deal about singing and acting at the same time. It was a musical after all. So primarily what I had to take into account was, first of all, my choral experience after 1.5 years of choir. Then I also had to take into account my acting experience, which was slightly less developed, but still it was adequate for the role. And I also had to take into account my ability to enhance myself as an actor, as well as enhancing other roles. I personally did not do that as much, but after the performance I learned a good deal about doing exactly that. I also learned a lot about I had a little temper problem during that performance, and I learned a good deal about patience during it. I learned to be more modest, because I was very keen on being so perfect during the performance. And I also learned the importance of simply being an important character. As of theatre in performance, we had good days and bad days. We had two good days and one not so very good day. And what I said about being an important character was that I wanted to keep my energy level as high as possible to make sure that the audience went out with a good performance. So, because I was the main antagonist, I had a lot of pressure on me. So every single day I tried to keep my energy level as high as possible. On the second day, on the Friday, that was when everyone was tired, and I was tired too. So it was not easy. So there's definitely a lot more to learn when it comes to keeping my energy level up top, but I tried as good as I could. As for theatre in the world, the play is a musical, and I learned a lot, as I said, about singing and acting simultaneously. Musical theatre is not as popular now as it was before, but I have definitely come to the conclusion that it is one of my favorite theatre types, and I would love to do more of it, forever and ever. Moving on to the second most influential production, that was a spring production of AES Moscow, Murder in the Air. Now, Murder in the Air contrasts a lot with my role in Honk, because in Murder in the Air I was Dirk Beltone, a news reporter and sports commentator, and my role was really just to open up with the exhibition. I opened up the entire play by introducing more major characters and to talk about the main plot of the play itself. And after that, I was pretty much gone. After that, I went off to the side of the stage and I sat in the corner. Now, it's very important to realize that my role was not in any way, shape, or form intended to be an important one. I was mostly just there to enhance others. While that is important, it was not important in the sense that I was needed for the play. Sure, I open up, and yes, sure, I open up with the exhibition, but that could have also been done otherwise. And what that play really taught me was the need for characters like Dirk Beltone, the need for people to open up, or the need for people to introduce the exhibition and enhance other characters in a way that I did. As for theatre in the performance, as I said, I learned the value of being a small character. Until Murder in the Air, I had generally had very important roles. Like in Honk, in 11th grade, I had the role of the director. While that wasn't important, that was also the director of Noises Off. While that wasn't important, that was also an enhanced role, but I did not understand the concept very well back then. Apart from in the grade 12 theatre makings, I also had a very important role, and it's mostly just those two key roles that have really influenced me as in terms of being a main role actor. But Murder in the Air really taught me what it was like to be a less important actor. When it comes to theatre in the world, dinner theatre, which was the style we did, it's not very popular, and it has a lot of, it doesn't really have the interaction level that we had. One thing I forgot to mention, it was a lot of improv during what we like to call the cocktail hour. And we had to talk with the audience members in your character. And that was challenging. And to be honest, I think I could use a lot more practice in the field. It taught me a lot about, for example, improv acting in character, and I really took away a lot of experiences from that. Just moving on to the viewpoints, we had a short workshop performance called Where the Wild Things Are, where I also had a rather minuscule role, but I chose the lightning bolt right here because that represented the role that I had. I was a storyteller, and to be a storyteller, I would use this deep, resonating, mystical voice that would sound a little bit like this when I told the story of little Max who walked through the land where the wild things are. And using that voice, I wanted to tell the story in a way that would seem storyteller-like, a way that would bring in the mysticism and romance with the enjoyment of a story. Of course, that made my role a lot more important than it was as Dirk Beltone, because I told the story after all. And the piece was workshopped, which meant that we took lots of different theatre styles, we put them together, and we saw what worked with the story and what didn't work. That also taught me a lot about theatre in the world and how this style is becoming increasingly more important. And finally, I would like to talk about my experiences as an actor from the audience perspective. Now, this here is a tree. It's been treated in a way that is called grafting, and I chose this tree because a play called Graft, Tales of an Actor, is also one of the most influential plays I've ever watched. Graft, Tales of an Actor, which we watched in the ISTA of 2013, was performed by an actor called George Dillon, and he taught me the wonderful, wonderful essence of one-man plays. He did a 1 hour and 20-minute play all by himself, and it was glorious. He inspired me so much that I almost wanted to write a single-man play myself. Afterwards, I went to his changing room, had a little talk with him, and he taught me two styles that he liked to use when performing. He taught me about a concept called volcano, which is a concept he uses to create a good mood for the performance. He has the boiling magma of emotion trapped under a mountain, a cold mountain of theater technique. And that hot magma is always trying to burst out of the mountain, and the mountain is always trying to push the magma to keep the magma down. And that tension is what creates a good theater performance, according to George Dillon. So I took his concept. I really want to use it. I use it somewhat in Honk. I use it somewhat in Murder in the Air. But I intend to teach this concept to the students I will have in my grade 12 play. Another concept, he told me where to keep my attention when acting on stage. He told me that at least 80% of my attention should be in the audience, another 10% should be in myself, and the last 10% should be my lines. Because the lines and the self are not important. The audience is what is important, said George Dillon. Because the audience is what gives you feedback and knows whether you're doing it right or you're doing it wrong. And I agree fully with this concept. I believe that what George Dillon taught me really influenced me and will really influence the way I will act in the future. Thank you very much.